Hello students. Yesterday we have started our chapter electromagnetic wave, and in the chapter as a description I have told you how it is different and what is the modification that is done in electromagnetism, and what kind of branches we are studying here. So in this electromagnetism branch, as I told you, electricity and magnetism both are the part of this one, and their combined effect we are studying here. So that's why its name is electromagnetism. Electric and plus magnetic field, both we are going to study here. And in this way I have told you what is the consequence of displacement current, why we need it, and what is the inconsistency and consistency regarding to the Ampere's law, what is the Maxwell's modifications for that. So all these cases as we have discussed. Then as in the last topic we were discussing about the Maxwell's equations. So today first I will discuss the Maxwell equation, and also I will tell you by using the Maxwell equation how can we understand light is as a wave, and how Maxwell established it. Actually if you will see the history for the nature of the light, then Newton has proposed a theory that light is made up of the particle, but as his theory was failed to explain the phenomena that we had known that time, like reflection, refraction, so that's why his theory was failed. And at the same time Huygens proposed a theory using the wave concept, and according to that wave concept all of the nature properties or phenomena that we have observed till that time, that was successfully explained. So that's why we have opted the nature of light as a wave, and later Maxwell did the experiment and mathematical calculations on that one, and he also established mathematically that light's nature is as a wave nature. So I will tell you how can we understand that mathematical things that the Maxwell has done and how he's established that one. So first let's again write the Maxwell's equation. So we have the first Maxwell equation, that is, as I told you already, this is from the electrostatic. So as Maxwell's force equation are representing the four field of electromagnetism. First one is electrostatic, second is magnetostatic, third one is electrodynamic, magnetodynamic, and fourth one is electrodynamic. So let's see one by one. So as if you will see the first law for the electrostatic, so that the law of electrostatic we are representing by the Gauss law. So here the Gauss law of electrostatic, that if you will write Gauss law of electrostatic. So according to this law we have E dot ds is equal to 1 upon epsilon 0 times charge enclosed by any closed surface. So here the flux passing through any closed surface is equal to this value. This is the Gauss law of electrostatic, and if you will see the physical significance of this one, then physically it is representing that whenever we have any charge within a closed curve or within a closed surface, then that time we will get some of the flux that will cross to it, or you can say that you will always get the electric field due to that surface there. So that electric field can be calculated by this one, where ds is the surface area and this q is the charge enclosed by that, and epsilon 0 is representing the medium that here we have taken for the free space, and you can also take it for the medium as I told you earlier already. Next one, second one, you will see the second Maxwell's equation is B dot ds, this is equal to 0, and you know this is the famous law of magnetostatic, and that is the Gauss law of magnetostatic. So the physical significance of this second Maxwell's equation is that the magnetic flux or enclosed by a closed surface is always 0. So as you know that always magnetic field or magnets appear in the form of dipole, their monocharge we don't get, monopole we don't get, that's why its integral is equal to 0 here. So the physical significance of the second law of Maxwell's second equation is that it is representing that magnetic monopole doesn't exist. So this is very important physical significance that you have to remind. Every Maxwell equation has some of the physical meaning, and that physical meaning is also very important along with these equations. Next one, third equation is that is representing the magnetodynamic case. So for the magnetodynamic, we have understood the electromagnetic induction, and the electromagnetic induction is depending on the law of Faraday, that is Faraday law of electromagnetism. Electromagnetic induction, you can also say. So according to the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, now this one we can write down as, we can produce the electric field along any loop that is equal to rate of change of magnetic flux passing through the surface. So here, whenever the magnetic flux link with any of the surface, any of the coil that is changing, then according to the change in magnetic flux, we are changing over the loop electric field, and you can say that we are obtaining some of the potential and current there. So this is the topic that we have just understood in previous two chapters. So this is the way in which Faraday law of electromagnetic induction we can represent by the integral equations. So this integral equation is representing, we can produce the electricity by using the magnetic field, and by using actually the varying magnetic field. So here the things that is important, time varying magnetic field can produce electricity, and its direction here, negative sign is representing, that is the electricity this is produced, this is opposing the any kind of change in this flux. So this is given by the Lenz law. Next one, the fourth one equation that we have here, this is for the electrodynamic case, and for electrodynamic case we know that we can here produce also the magnetic field by using the electric field, like the current can produce the magnetic field easily, and by for that one case we are using Ampere's law. So here if you will see the Ampere's circuital law, according to the Ampere's circuital law, this law can be written as, over any loop the magnetic field can be produced by a steady current. Here value of I is here constant. So steady current can produce the magnetic field around it over any loop. This is the Ampere's law, and I have told you what is the inconsistency with this law, because whenever between any capacitor plate you will see, then there as this conduction current is 0, so we were not getting any kind of field there, discontinuity occur there. To make it continuous, to make it logically consistent, Maxwell modified this law, and after modification we have added next only term, that is the terms of displacement current in this current, conduction current. So whenever in the wire we have getting any value of I, then that time this displacement current is 0. This current appears only between the surface or space between the capacitors. So that time ID we are getting, and I is 0. So this is the whole of the circuit is now consistent, and also its value can be written as, this is mu 0, this is I, and its value is given by epsilon 0 d pi e upon dt. So this is the value of the displacement current, and this whole law is known as modified Maxwell's equation or modified Ampere's law. So this is the four actually equations that are the basic and fundamental of electromagnetic branch, and with, by using these all four equations we can understand any of the phenomena that is related with the light or any electromagnetic wave, and these all phenomena are that is related to the wave only. Later I will tell you some of the phenomena of light we are getting, but that cannot be actually explained by using the wave concept. So later we have also proposed a new nature of the light, that is particle nature. So in later you will see also, but here we are only going to put our concern over the wave nature of light, and as Maxwell also used the and established the wave nature of the light here. Now let's see what is the how can we understand propagation of light or electromagnetic wave in any media. only one example actually I will tell you here. So this is, next one is propagation of electromagnetic wave in free space. So as we know that light is coming from, to our earth or at any places through the free space that we are getting, and as up to now we are taking the concept that in free space there is no particle, there is no charge. So this is the main key factor of the free space. Means for the free space, if you will write some of the condition, then charge in free space is 0, as no charge particle, no media is present there. And next one, as this one is 0, then we can say that the conductivity is also 0, and if conductivity is 0, then we can also write down that the displacement current will not there, this is also 0. So all these concepts we are getting here. Now you can write down, or if you sorry, displacement current have to write actually, we can write down actually this volume charge density is 0. Now these three factors are the key factor for any media. Whenever you will enter in any media, then different kind of properties you will get, because every medium is made up of a large number of ions, particles, and these ions and particles have different properties in different media. Like we have dielectric media, we have conducting media, and these all mediums you have understood already. Then next one here, now we are taking the case of only free space. You can also see these cases for the dielectric media, for the conducting media, for plasma media. These all media, whenever light will enter or electromagnetic wave will enter, what will be its velocity, how can we represent its wave equation, and what are the properties of the electromagnetic wave whenever it will enter there. So for this one case, first of all we have to start write with the Maxwell's equation for this media. So for the free space case, if you will write the Maxwell's first equation, so as Maxwell's first equation, one more thing students, I will take here the differential form, not the integral form, to make you understand. And if you want to change any of the quantity in the differential form, then you have to take the help of three laws of the mathematics, that is Stokes theorem, that is Green's divergence theorem. So if Green's divergence theorem and Stokes theorem, I will tell you that these are the theorems that are converting one-dimensional problem to three-dimensional, or two-dimensional problem to three-dimension, or three-dimension to two or one-dimension. So this kind of interconversion you can do. Like if you have suppose any cube, so in the cube you can have all the three dimensions. Like cube can have one side that will representing one-dimensional space. If you will see any of the side of the cube, so that is the plane, and that is or any surface actually you can see there are 6 faces cube has. So one face if you will see, that is lying in two plane, so that is representing two-dimensional things. And if you will see the volume of the cube, whole of the cube, that is three-dimensional. Means you can calculate length, you can calculate surface area there, you can calculate volume there, all the three-dimensional things you can do there. Then there should be a relationship between all these dimensions. How can we interconvert them? So this is the way to interconvert the one-dimensional things to three-dimension, or three-dimension to two-dimension, or one-dimension. So let's see first these two equations. After that we will start it. So this is the Green's divergence theorem, and this is Stokes theorem. Now you can see that Green divergence theorem is related surface integral to the volume integral, and surface and volume integral I have told you already in previous class. So here it means if you are finding out the surface area and you are working on 2 dimension, then that time surface integral you are getting, and while you are working on 3 dimension, then volume integral you are getting, that is integrated for the 3 variables x, y and z, means all for all 3 dimensions here. So if you have any vector A over the surface S, if you are integrating it A dot ds, then for the volume integral this will be equivalent to the del dot E ds, where del is an operator, just like you have seen that the operator for the any differential differentiation, like if you can write here ddx, exactly not it is called ddx, it is y plus k divided by z, where this is the partial integrals. I have told you already, so partial differentials. Whenever the partially we are differentiating any function, then this deva words we are using, and ddx that you are obtaining, that is for the point differentiation, means total differentiations we are using that one. So if you will write down for 3 dimensions the differential equations in at one place, then that is operator is known as the del operator. So here this del is representing that we are working again for the 3-dimensional cases. And now if you will see the Stokes theorem, that this second theorem is relating the curve to the surface. It means that it is relating one dimension to 2 dimension. So one dimension, if you have any vector in one dimension and you can represent its integral form as a dot dl, then that is converted in the 2 dimension by this Stokes theorem. According to this one, this will be equal to del cross A ds, where this is the cross product and here dot product of the vector by the del operator. So we will use these two theorems here to understand the propagation of electromagnetic wave in free space by using the Maxwell's equation. So now I will tell you how can we convert our Maxwell's integral equation into the differential equation by using this del. So let's see that. So as students, we have discussed up to now what is the Green's divergence theorem and Stokes theorem, and after this one let's see how can we convert the integral Maxwell's equation into differential equations first. So as the first equation we have, that is E dot ds, this is equal to 1 upon epsilon 0 charge enclosed by the surface. Now as here the surface integral you are seeing, this ds is representing that we have just integrated it for the surface. Now we can convert this surface integral into the volume integral by using the Green's divergence concept. So according to that concept, now you can convert it into the volume integral, and if, this value will be equal to volume integral, this is del dot E. Just now you have noted the formula, let's see from there. So this will become del dot E. And one more thing here, this Q, you can represent and you can write it in the form of volume charge density, this one. So this one can be written as integration of charge over the volume also. Here you can write this one. Means if the surface has volume charge density rho, then it can be written as Q by V, and that Q by V for the small volume dV can be represented in this way. So simple, for any 3-dimensional surface, if you have to find out what will be the value of charge enclosed in that, then that charge can be calculated in the terms of this volume charge density here. So this equation you can convert in this form now, and here if you will see these two integrals, as they are now converted into the same integral, means volume integral. So there this component form that is inside it, we can compare these one, and after comparing you can write down this is del dot E, this is equal to rho by epsilon 0. So this is now the differential form of this equation that we can write in this form. So in the same way you can also convert all the 3 equations, and you can find out all the values in the terms of del in place of this integral. So only we are just actually converting our integral sign into the differential sign. That will be easy to understand the whole of the calculation, that's why I am doing it. So let's just see all the equations that in differential form for the Maxwell's, and you can convert it by yourself by using divergence theorem and Stokes theorem. So first equation, if we will write now again for the in the differential form, the Maxwell's equation is del dot E, this is equal to rho by epsilon 0. Second equation if you will write, so this will convert into del dot B, this will be equal to 0. Third equation, you can use there the Stokes theorem, and if you will use the Stokes theorem, this will be equal to del cross B, this will be minus, sorry, not del cross B, this is del cross E, this is minus of d phi by dt. And here also you can write down in this place, this is fourth one, if you will write down, or you can, if you will solve it actually, so then you will get here dv by dt. Then next the fourth one, if you will solve it, then this will be equal to del cross B, this is equal to the first term that is for mu 0 I, and the second term that is for onward integral equation that is for the displacement current. So if you will write down, it is in integral form. So these two equations are converted in the forms of charge densities. So here this can be converted in the terms of electricity and the conductivity of the media, that is sigma epsilon 0 plus, we can also write down here for this one, this is epsilon 0 delta E by delta T from here. So this is the four equations that we have written for the Maxwell's equation. This is Gauss law of electrostatic, Gauss law of magnetostatic, this is Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, and last one this is modified Ampere's law, and their conversion into the differential form. So you can also note this form, and this can convert by using the two theorems that I have told you. Now we will use these four equations to understand the propagation of electromagnetic wave in free space case. So here for the free space, as I told you, there is no medium present. So Q is 0, charge is not present, that's why it is 0. And if charge is 0, then conductivity of the media, that will be also 0. And the charge density will also be 0. So in this whole of the equation, this one term will be 0. And the second term from here, this can be written as 0. Now we can convert our Maxwell's equation for free space. And for the free space, this equation now can be written as del dot B is equal to 0. And in all the places, you can just take it 0, and this will be equal to epsilon 0 delta E by delta T. So these four equations are now called the Maxwell's equation for free space. So in the same way, you can write down Maxwell's equation for every media. Whenever you will have the dielectric media, then for the case of dielectric media, the epsilon 0 will be converted by the epsilon. Mu 0 will be changed by the mu, because mu and epsilon are representing the property of media. So whenever medium will change, they will also change, and all of the other factors will be same as it is. Like in the dielectric media also, as you know, there is no free charge present, then Q will be 0 for that one case also, and epsilon will be 0 for that one also, and rho will be 0. This all these other cases will be same, only the properties of the medium will change. In the same way, you can write down it for the conducting media. So in the conductor, you know that you have a large number of free electrons. So charges you are there now present. Now Q cannot be equal to 0, and if Q is not 0, then sigma will not be 0, and this one will be also not 0. But one more concept is here. As in conductor, you know that inside the conductor, the charge is 0, because all of the charges are present at the surface. So this is also the property of conductor. If you will impose that property here, so according to this one, in volume, this should be 0. So rho will be 0 for that case. So this equation will be converted for the conducting media. This will be as it is. This will be as it is. This will be as it is. Now here, the term that was Q plus sigma E, that will be present here only. And for the plasma media, if you will write this equation, then for the plasma media, inside the conductor, even in plasma medium, we are getting the charge density, we are getting charges. So that's why no of the term will be 0. So in the originally, the Maxwell's equation that I have written, that was the equation for the plasma media. So for all four medias, you can write down the Maxwell's equation. And by using Maxwell equation, you can understand the properties of every media. This what will be if any electromagnetic wave will go through that kind of the media. So let's now start our equation and this problem from here. So first of all, again here I will write the four equations again. So this is del dot E is equal to 0. Second one, this was del dot B is equal to 0. Third one, this is del cross E is equal to minus. Here one more thing, I am converting them to partial differential equation. Fourth one here, this is del cross B. This is equal to epsilon 0 delta E by delta T. So these are our four equations now. Now in this four equations, first of all, what we have to do? We have to take this third equation. So let's take curl of equation 3 here. So this is our equation 3. Let's curl of this. Curl means we have to take the cross product on both of the side of this equation. So while taking cross product, we can write down del cross del cross E. This will be equal to minus, here you can write down, minus of del cross derivative T of B from here. Now as this is the vector triple product, and if you will expand this by using the vector triple product, means A cross B cross C, by using this formula, if you will expand, so this can be written as A dot C. So here A dot C, if you will write del dot E into B minus of A dot B into C. So A dot B, if you will write, this is del square, this will be equal to E here. So this is our expansion of this vector triple product. Now here one thing, this is also an operator and derivative T is also an operator. So as these two operators are called canonical operators, then they can be interchangeable, means they can be exchanged here. So we can write down this equation as derivative T of del cross B. This equation is same as it is. Now what will be the benefit of this one? Now we can impose other all equations to this one. Here del dot E, we can write down the value of it from the first equation, and del cross B, we can write down the equation's value from the fourth equation. So let's write down these values now. So if you will write this value here, then this will be 0. You will get this second term only. So this will be minus del square E, and this is equal to minus of derivative T. And in the place of del cross B, now you can write here, this is epsilon 0 deva E by deva T from here. So this is our final equation that we have got now. And now in this final equation, you can just take here, this is minus sign, you can write in this way, del square E, this is derivative T of epsilon 0, let's write down this side, this is deva 2 of deva T2, this is of. So now this is the equation. After solving this, we have got what is it representing. Now if you will see the classical wave equation, the classical wave equation as you have studied in 11th class already, so that can be now written as if y is the displacement of any wave for any time t, then the equation for the y, that can be written by the formula. This is del square y is equal to deva 2 deva t square into y. So this is the equation through which we are representing any wave. So whenever the wave is moving, that is at time t, its displacement can be calculated by this formula, and this formula is connecting the space derivatives with the time derivative by this formula. So you can compare these two equations, and now on comparing these two here, I think one term I have just left from here. In this one term, you can also change this B into H, and here also you can change B into H. Now here, if in this equation we will write here H, then this can be converted into H by dividing mu 0 here, and we can multiply mu 0, then this equation also here mu 0. Now if you will just see this equation now. So this is the equation for the any classical wave that is moving with some velocity v at any time t. What will be its displacement, that can be calculated by this formula. So this equation resembles to this wave equation. So from here Maxwell established a relationship for the electromagnetic wave, and according to this one, electromagnetic wave is following the properties of waves. That's why its nature is called the wave nature, and Huygens theory is established from now more, and just Newton's theory is denied from there, and that is failed to explain any of the phenomena that we have observed that time, like reflection of the light. So here if you will compare what will be the velocity of the electromagnetic wave that you have, so by comparing the same equation we can write down v square, this is equal to 1 upon mu 0 into epsilon 0, and also v can be written as 1 upon root times mu 0 into epsilon 0. Now we know the value of mu 0 and epsilon 0. Let's put this one. So value of mu 0, this is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7, and value of epsilon 0 here, this is 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12. Now if we will solve this equation and root, if we will solve, then its value is obtained to be 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So this is the velocity of light that we have got after the solution of the Maxwell's equation for any kind of electromagnetic wave. So one more result we have concluded from here, that was all of the electromagnetic waves are moving with the velocity of light. It means that light is also an electromagnetic wave. So light is also observed from here, it is behaving like the electromagnetic wave, and all other electromagnetic waves that will also show the same property as the light is showing, like we knew the properties like reflection, refraction, diffraction, and interference of light, Doppler effect, polarization of light. All these phenomena are performed by all of the 6 other electromagnetic waves. So after this all discussions, student, in next class we will see first what are the electromagnetic waves and how many types of electromagnetic waves we have. So let's see that all in next class. Thank you, students.